what is your take on the Spanish proficiency tests like DELE and CLE? I got my DELE C1 exam in 2021. I barely passed. It was extremely hard since they put in the comprensión auditiva, different accents in C1. The Guatemalan accent was fast, impossible to understand. Would you like to make a video about these tests? Yeah, I can talk about these tests. It's no, it's, I mean, I personally haven't taken the daily exams for obvious reasons as a native speaker. Although I've taken the Basque exam, funnily enough, because well, they made us take it to make sure that we not only speak the language well, because we did as native speakers. They wanted to make sure that we all could write really well in the language and that we could use different proverbs and things like that, and we had a good knowledge of the culture. Which I mean, I grew up speaking it, and everyone speaks it in my village. But anyway, so my point is, with that little story about Basque, and English as well. Like, let me tell you English. I never took the B2 exam for English. I think I went straight to C1 when everyone was preparing the B2 when I was like 20. And then a couple of years later, I took the C2. No, a couple of years later, I was like 26 when I took the B2, C2. But most kids are pushed to take the B2 exam and then C1 if they can, if they don't suck at English too much. And everything in school is geared to prepare kids for those exams, and then take the exams, and then you take the next exam, and you get your certificates, and now you speak English. And then when you speak with people from here in real life, they all, not all, but 90% plus suck at English. And the reason why is that exams, taking tests, and speaking a language are very different skills. What's my point? Well, to answer your question, what's my take on the proficiency tests? They're a thing. Are they super important? I don't think so. If you want to take them, like you got the C1, which means you got a decent level, theoretically. If you want to take the exam as a personal challenge, okay, yeah, do it. Or if you need the certificate to work in the country, get a job, you need it. It looks good on your CV, and you're a student, and you've got no work experience in your CV, and okay, and it's good. But it it doesn't really show your level, and even if sometimes, usually, if you've got C1 certificate, you probably speak well as well, right? But not necessarily. I know a lot of people who don't speak well after getting a C1 simply because they are good at preparing exams, preparing for exams, and taking exams and passing exams, and then they can't have a conversation in the language afterwards. So, what's my take? They're not necessarily a bad thing, but they're not necessary either. If you want to take them, good. If you don't care, that's also good. It just doesn't matter. If you want help to prepare for exams specifically, there are a couple of things I recommend you do. So here you say barely passed. It was extremely hard since they put in the comprensión auditiva, different accents in C1. Yeah, for that you need lots and lots of listening. I always recommend doing listening with different accents so that you get used to. And a lot of people ask me about people who have very basic level in Spanish. uh, they can't even have a really basic conversation, but they want to develop an accent from a specific country, and they only want to use content from that country and from that specific accent. And Like only Costa Rican Spanish, because otherwise you you know less than 5% of everything you need to know to be fluent. Forget about the accents. Make sure you learn enough vocab and make sure you get enough listening practice first if you want to understand, right? But uh, a big problem also with just obsessing over one accent, unless you want to sound like a native speaker. But that comes much later anyway. Yeah, a big problem with obsessing over one accent and just I only want to listen to this accent and like looking at content in any other using any other accent that's almost like contaminating your listening input. People think like this. A lot of people think like this. The big problem with this is the moment you listen to anyone that has a different accent, you will not understand anything, or you'll understand very little. It's like it's like trying to learn English, but you only want I don't know, you only want a posh British accent, and even if you are a beginner, like, let's say you learn English from scratch and you know nothing still, but the only listening you ever going to do what to do is just like upper class British accent. That's it, or like I don't know Texas English. You know, that's the only thing you want to hear. You want to hear nothing else. Obviously, whenever you go to something else, you won't understand anything. So make sure you listen to a wide range of accents. Now, if you're C1 level already, or even B2, but if you're fluent, you understand the language, you speak well, you want to develop a really good accent, then you focus on one accent, the one that you want to develop. But only after you can, only after you learn to understand everything, right? Almost everything. You will always struggle with some accent, or probably. Even if I listen to people from Chile, I have to concentrate. Same in English. If I'm talking to people from Liverpool, for example, who have a very rough accents, I have to concentrate. But for the most part, get used to listening to everything and understand everything more or less, and then you develop an accent, the one you want to develop, by listening to it a lot and shadowing. But yeah, lots of listening. Make sure you learn lots of vocab. But yeah, if you pass the C1, that's good. For people who want to take tests, yeah, basically you take mock tests, as many of them as possible, and just practice, do them over and over, look at the answers, and then get the feedback, try again, try again, try again. I think you could take them and make ChatGPT use those tests as templates and create. You take 5 to 10 tests and you create 100 more using ChatGPT, just making copies of similar tests, and you take them on your own, a test a day, 90 days, and you become really good at passing that test. In fact, I think I could do this for languages I don't speak at all and get like a B2 in an exam, just by preparing for the test. My English was worse, considerably worse than now. When my accents, I worked on my accent a lot when I prepared for my C2 certificate. I used to sound way more like Arnold Schwarzenegger, blah 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 blah. Then, but I did a lot of listening, repeating, shadowing. But I still make grammar mistakes here and there. Excuse me. But I got 100 out of 100 points in the use of English part, simply because the multiple choice and all that, simply because I practiced the test so many times. And that's it. That's how you pass this test. It's not like I need a glass of water. It's not like they're super important. Anyway,